Dum 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 dum.
Rise from your grave.
No, I'm not a video game character. What was that from anyways? It's a Genesis game, I remember that much. Anyways, sup again. Sup again, sup again. Do you like my new camera? My new camera is a Logitech C920, which is an HD camera. Although my other camera that I use a lot of times in my previous videos, that's a Galaxy Note. So, but anyways, Logitech C920. New computer. It's been a bit, but I've been busy making stuff off the screen camera-ness because adulting, it's hard. And actually, you know, I freelance in illustration, but also I have, in the time since you last saw me, I got a new job doing stuff that's not art. Well, it's kind of design related. It's in the publishing industry, and that's about all I can say. And it's local to where I live, but I can't say that I use a lot of my art skills, but that's what these YouTube videos are for, right? Right. So, last time on Dragon Ball Z, or not Dragon Ball Z, I'm trying to remember, it was either, I remember last time I talked about gouache. Gouache was cool, and I was in New Zealand testing gouache. And there was also me testing out crayons. So I suppose this video will be somewhat along those lines of crayons. Because I know a lot of art videos, there's a lot of challenges on the internet that are like, well, can you make art using these tools? So I started thinking about tools that I haven't used in a while aside. Well, I kind of use crayons, I dabble in them. And so I have a small collection of stuff that maybe I'll show off in a video or 3 about challenges, new stuff, materials I haven't used in a while, but that actually I think you can make art out of them. Well, you can make art out of, to be honest, a stick. A stick you form into a brush and you paint on it using ink. Really, seriously, when I was in art school, that was an exercise in one of my classes. The art teacher was like, hey, go out into the courtyard, grab some sticks, come back in, and using your X-Acto knife, make them into brushes, and then you're going to draw figures of them all class long. So, what did I get? Here, let me show you. This is probably the biggest box of SuperTips I have ever seen, which is pretty impressive considering that I probably would have given my left arm for a box this big as a kid. Because as a kid, I'm trying to think, I had a package of 50, and the package of 50, they came, at least back then, in like packaged satchel plastic things, but this is an impressive looking box. And the fun thing is that it only cost me $15 at Target. $15? I can get behind that. Because, I mean, maybe as a kid, and to a parent, $15 might be a lot of money, but $15 to me now with a day job is like, oh, okay, I just won't buy a video game, or I won't go out to a movie, or I'll skip dinner for a couple of days. You know, eating out. Well, that's mostly because I work night shifts. Yeah, also retail therapy keeps me sane. And doing art. So I had these as a kid, SuperTips. And from what I remember about them, they were okay. They're okay markers. Like, I had some other brands that I also used as felt tips as a kid, like Pentel felt tips, and then those were also okay. Then, like, the generic F1s you got from a mystery store that actually came from, like, Holland or China or some weird place that, you know, and they acted like crap in response. Yep. And then I did a lot of anime artwork with these SuperTips because they're very good from what I remember with cell shading. Like, I did Dragon Ball stuff and like Naruto and Mega Man. That was definitely cell shading was definitely where I started out with coloring, at least. It's not or end of necessarily. So I remember they're good for that. And then I discovered watercolor. I got like a watercolor kit in high school that was like an actual good one, like a Sakura koi kit. And that's when I think I started falling out of favor with these. I definitely don't have the original package of 50 markers that I used to have. Probably because the thing with the satchel, the plastic containers of SuperTips, is that the markers would fall out, the plastic would break, and you know, they all roll over the place. The next thing you know, you've got 50 SuperTips all over your room. And then half of them might not even work because they all dried out. Because you know how kids take care of art supplies. That's also why these are $15, right? Right? I guess we'll have to find out, right? So I guess now that I've talked about them a little bit, I guess we can unbox these. And then we can swatch them. And I'll try swatching them on a variety of paper because I don't remember how they react. I've watched some few videos on YouTube and I've gotten an idea of what sort of paper I may or may not need to use and which ones to avoid, also from general knowledge of long ago. And then I guess after I swatch some of them, I'm not going to swatch all 100 of them. Probably not, unless I do a time lapse. And then I'm going to actually try coloring an actual drawing that I've been doing recently. It'll be a quickie drawing, just to get an idea and maybe do some bonus stuff. Shut up, Creative Cloud. Oh, I just broke the professionalism. Anyways. Alright, I am back. And you can see I have my nice sheet of paper out. And my camera is mounted on a tripod. I think that's the most awesome feature of the C920 I like so far, is that I can mount it on a tripod. Like, I mount myself on a tripod too, but it's always a bit more tricky, I suppose. But this one just has the mounting thing that goes on the hot shoe of the tripod. The slot for the screw to go in on the hot shoe, or whatever you like to call it.
Get on with it!
Anyways, I'm getting off topic again. Here is my big gigantic box of Crayola SuperTips. You can see that on the top we have, in theory, every single color represented by these little dots, which I actually like that attention to detail because it can give you a rough estimate of the colors that are in here. Note that these are probably not true to what the actual colors are like, just like the tips of most markers in this student school category, office supply category tend to be. The only way you'll know what they look like is to open them up and swatch all of them. Now you have two choices of opening the box. You can, it looks like, you can slit this, there's tape here, you can slit that open, you can open from the top. So I guess I'm going to do that. Off camera because my camera is zoomed in a little bit, or not. Scissors. Oh no! You didn't see that. I'm not the best at destroying boxes. Oh, I got it. Okay. But then it also says, to open box. Box opens this way. To open box, keep top flap closed, break along slit, and bend back. That's the proper way to do it. Proper. So, but you can do it that way if you want. It's like, you open the flaps and hello markers. Oh my god, that is a metric ton of markers. And they're even kind of organized by shade. I like that. Some marker companies just kind of just toss the markers in there and they're like, whatever. So, yep, close that back up. Oh, on the back there's also a representation supposedly of 100 colors. This pack of Crayola SuperTip markers comes in a variety of 100 colors. The durable conical tip allows for thin lines from the point and thicker lines when held at an angle. SuperTips are great for school projects, doodling, and all-around coloring fun. And where are these made? Do they say? Let's see, Crayola, distributed in Australia. Made in Italy. I don't know if you can actually see that. I might superimpose a scan of the box, but that's interesting. Because I saw other markers in the store. Like I saw a slightly more expensive set of Statler markers. Statler, and I might review those later, but they were kind of expensive at Target. They were cheaper on Amazon, but they were also made in Italy. So these are not made in America, but they're also not made in Asia. So that's interesting. Safety information, non-toxic, tells you how to wash stuff out, keep away from stuff that cannot be laundered, because then you can't get it out. So for instance, don't write on a table with it, write on paper. And clothing, wash promptly in hot wash cycle, do not use bleach, pre-wash, repeat laundering may be required. So they're kind of water washability. I don't know, I'm not small child, I'm not 0 to 3, not to 3 sad onions. Oh dear, I just made an English reference. Sorry, Ashens. Anyways, opening box. So the way you're supposed to open it is that there's this slit here, and slit along the sides, slit along these sides. So, oh, and now this won't stay closed. I guess that sticker was useful for something. Anyways. Yeah, this is not as easy as a box of crayons to get open. I can hear it. It's doing stuff. It's doing stuff. Oh my gosh. It's glorious. Oh, and can you even kind of use it as a flat? No, not really. Like some boxes, like Statler boxes, I really love them because you can fold them back and then it acts as a stand. This one, not so impressive. So inside you see all these lovely colors and markers. I'm also going to take a moment to tape that thing that won't stay closed. Silly me for breaking the plastic seal. Apparently now it won't stay closed unless I do this, and I have to make sure not to cover up these pretty palette swatches. Alright. So, now that I have the box open off camera and dropping everything, you literally can't see it unless I'm like right on the thing.
Standing out here yelling rabble, rabble, rabble isn't going to help anything.
Okay, well that was one long swatch set later. Probably not that long for you in the time lapse, but I can definitely tell you some things about my first initial thoughts upon swatching these things, which I'm going to have to work out before I get to the next stage of this whole adventure. So each one of these lines here represents one partition of the big gigantic box. Like each one of these pull-out sections, which you can't see now that I put them back in there, but there's 4 pull-out sections in here. And each one of the pull-out sections has 25 markers in it. And I can legitimately say I don't see any duplicates, which is pretty impressive because, like I said, kids' colored markers don't generally come in 100 different shades. So props to Crayola for that. They're bright, fun, and vibrant looking, you know, like most of us remember Crayola products being. They laid down pretty smoothly for water-based markers. However, now I'm going to realize that there's something I'm going to need to work out before the next stage of the operation. You notice that there is no rhyme or reason to these swatches because the cap colors on the markers don't help. There's no label on these markers as to what color they are. Like I said, it's just this bare marker. There's not even a number, which is annoying as heck. You only have this cap color to go by, and say you're in a yellowish looking room. These cap colors can be really hard to distinguish. And also try and make sense of this color chart by shade and tone. Yeah. Kids will have fun just picking random colors out of this gigantic pile, but adults and older kids, they're probably going to be a little annoyed. I think this is tip number 1 about this box set, is that you're going to have to spend some time organizing it, even fresh out of the box. Because I need to organize these by shade before I can make something nice out of them. Otherwise, I'm going to go mad. So I guess stay tuned for what I figure out how to organize these and figure out what shade is what. Think. Alright, one eternity later, after I did some brainstorming, I have organized all these markers. So how did I do it? For anybody who actually wants to bother on organizing all of them, well, I split up 3x5 index cards into 5 segments. So each one of these cards is 5 markers. And then 5 cards of these would fill one of these 25 marker boxes. So I slowly went through each box, picking out the markers, swatch labeling them with a number, Sharpie, on both the barrel and the cap. And they're vaguely organized by color now. But yeah, so this is all 100 of them. It's not perfectly organized, but it's at least organized enough to where I can get a sense of the colors, which means I can actually do some testing with these, right? And I mean, if you wanted to get probably even more precise with the swatches, you could always cut up these swatches and then really organize them by shade and color. And then you could also possibly organize them by shade and color in this box, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. I might just live by these index cards. So what I was doing in this piece was, lately I've been on a kick playing around with prop design, which is a somewhat underappreciated but very soothing part of concept art design that I like. That I'm learning to like, at least. It's not as glamorous as, say, character art or environment art, but it's meat and potatoes of concept design. Being able to design something as simple as, well, in this case I was designing crystals that were based off of a Lego piece from a lot of sets that are out there in the world, and that I definitely had this crystal type piece design when I was a kid in my sets. So, but I was playing around with how realistic you could make them look, and just design ideas that they probably never would have thought of due to plastic being difficult to design in multicolor colors like these. So first I just start off pretty simple, but eventually with this sort of thing where I'm just slapping down color and using a very bold medium like these markers, I let my mind wander and come up with some pretty wacky stuff. Like this thing I'm working on, or just finished working on, was based off of a popsicle called firecrackers here in the US. But then I tried other stuff, like this golden crystal had little dots inside, and just play around. When you're working with a medium that's so simple like markers, just let your mind wander. When it comes to concept art, it's actually, at least this type of concept art, which is like ideas, it's better to have more iterations than to not have a lot of iterations. It can be a lot of work, but it can also be a lot of fun. So just let your mind wander and do what you want. And I think these markers were a good thing to do this challenge with, because a bold marker will make you think very simplistic and very quickly, instead of having to fiddle around with a Photoshop brush or Sketchbook Pro, which don't get me wrong, I love those too, but I also love traditional art, and so that's why I did this challenge. But also do whatever works for you. If you feel like you can do your best concepts in pencil or in gouache or in Photoshop, then just run with it. Just run with concept art. Run with prop designs. And once you get the hang of doing props, you'll be pretty invaluable, because there's always the need for some person to make 20 doors or 20 trees, or the things that the character designers only and stuff don't really want to do. Just be willing to do anything and everything, and just play around. Play around with all sorts of concepts and ideas, and you'll get a nice layout of things that you can then take to a more finalized version and toss into like a 3D modeling program, or make a resin cast or a 3D print of. Although these ones are probably more suited for a 3D model, but or you can use them actually as assets in like a 2D game, I think. So all in all, these Crayola markers, they were a good buy for me, and I like mediums and challenging myself, and hopefully you do too. So here's the final product. It looks pretty good. So till next time, cheers.